Hi, my name is Ariel from the Children of Karma, and today I'd like to discuss the Moon and Mercury aspects. The Moon is where we find comfort. It's our instinct, our instinctual reaction to something, our mother. So when Mercury is tied to this, there can be difficulty if there's a hard aspect, for example, a square or an opposition, even a conjunction. There's difficulty communicating with that mother. It can make you feel inadequate in a way, because when we're communicating with mother, we're communicating our safety needs, security, what we need, our basic needs, what gives us comfort. And if we're unable to do that, for example, with Mercury can be the trickster, the magician, the con artist. Say she's lying, maybe she lies all the time and there's no way for you to feel safe. Say that's an air moon lying, and with an earth moon, you can't deal with that. You want stability, you want structure, and she's always changing her mind. The moon moves so quickly. She's changing her feelings, changing her emotions, and you'll hear it in her words. She'll change the way she feels about something on a day-to-day basis, and it can be hard to figure out what are the rules of this place and how do I behave, how do I act, when they're always changing the rules to the game. Mercury is also the comedian, so maybe she's making a joke out of everything that you say. Maybe you're trying to get her to take you seriously, but she just doesn't. And it can make you feel inadequate. It can make you feel like you're just unable to express how you feel properly. The words just won't come out, and you can't verbalize these feelings at all. And you can take this into your adult relationships as well, and be unable to communicate your needs to your partner. And maybe you feel like you can't be understood, no one can understand you. And it stems from that relationship with the mother. It always goes back to those two parents, and it's like we're going out there in the world trying to resolve those same issues, but through other people. And it's helpful to look at where it stems from, so that we can maybe find ways to intercept the pattern and stop the cycle. Mercury can also transcend boundaries, so you can transform your feelings and your emotions in a positive way as well. You can see the root causes of this miscommunication with the mother, and you can work on ways to transform it. The Moon Mercury aspect shows a very nurturing, sensitive, compassionate person who nurtures through their words. And so this may not be what you received at home if you had a difficult aspect here, but you can be that person in your life for someone else, or just for yourself. So if you have a parent that maybe you're not able to communicate with, maybe try to nurture yourself through your words, through speaking to yourself in a softer way, a more motherly, nurturing way. Learning also helps this aspect. It feels more comfortable, safe when it's learning with knowledge. There are times where I will purposefully ignore something. I will not research something that I know I can find the answer to, but I'm just maybe not willing to accept the results. This aspect needs to learn about things in order to feel safe. That knowledge helps them. This aspect is like a instinct versus logic. And if there's a hard aspect here, then you have difficulty here. You can rationalize your feelings, try to explain them away, make them invisible. Or you may be just unable to really grasp the words to explain the feelings that you have. This aspect is very witty, a comedian. and very charming, very compassionate, very sensitive. They can connect to the masses through their feelings. They can persuade through their feelings. This aspect, it can be difficult getting to the point sometimes. It can be, you find that it's a long story and maybe it's filled with a lot of details that are not really relevant. It can also, maybe this person's discussing family a lot. They discuss the home a lot. They're willing to discuss all the problems in the home. And maybe they can even draw connections to things that are not even related and bring up the home, you know, bring it up when it's not even relevant to the conversation. They're very much tied to the home, and they can be tied to the past as well, you know, always talking about the past. Well, in my day, you know, always talking about the past, and it can be difficult to move forward if there's a difficult aspect here. The aspect is difficult as well with the changing of the emotions and the moods all the time. I find that it's very hard to keep up, even through journaling, to track all of those feelings and emotions, because sometimes with this aspect we can process those feelings and emotions through our communication, and you know, usually that's with others. If we're trying to process them on our own, I think even journaling it can't keep up with the process. The ideas are moving faster than you're able to write them. And so a voice recorder really works for me to capture everything in the moment. I find that even it's hard to turn off the mind, even through meditation. So I grabbed a voice recorder and I'm recording my thoughts throughout the meditation. And it's funny too, with this aspect, you know, you change your mind often and you change your feelings about things often. And you can go back to something that you've recorded a few days ago and you can really shock yourself about how you feel. You know, you may not even feel the same way as you did when you recorded it. And you can be grateful that you didn't process this out there with someone else, you know, potentially burning a bridge with someone over an emotion that's going to pass quickly. Thank you for joining me for this video, and I'd love to see you at thechildrenofkarma.com so we can find your ancestral patterns and we can find better ways to work with them so that we're not repeating the patterns of the past. And don't forget to like the video. Thanks. Bye.